Welcome to my update 32 beta build 6 video. In this video I'm going to look at everything that's been done in this beta build so far, since I believe I haven't covered this build yet on the previous builds. Just starting off, I'm going to look at the raid real quick. This is a video that I did a few weeks ago when the raid first came out. Not a lot has changed. Boss 1 is, as usual, the ice giants, the 3 ice giants that you fight. And there's some punt mechanics, there's some frontal and stuff to watch out for, some puddles being dropped. I only did this on tier 2, this build. But it's pretty much the same as you can see in this video. You're fighting the 3 ice giants and you just gotta look out for a few mechanics. That's pretty much, boss 1 is pretty much unchanged, although that was tier 2. This is tier 1 in the video. And boss 2 actually had some new stuff. In this video right here, you only fight the boss. But in this build, I don't have recordings from that, but there's like these spiky walls that are blocking you in, like in a little arena. And I believe every 10% there's going to be ads. The ads will have corruptions. You have archers similar to those from Throne, where they get corruptions with 100% range damage. They also do their kill shot induction thing. And there are warriors that have a reflect corruption, so there's a lot to watch out for here. And there's usually a captain, or I forget his name, it's like a captain orc, who reduces damage or all other mobs around him, as well as some chains hanging from the ceiling that probably have some mechanic bound to them. I didn't get too much time on boss 2, but every 10% I believe there's an ad pole that comes in that you need to deal with before you can go back to the boss. But the boss 2 certainly has potential. It looks pretty nice. The third boss, Rune, is not yet available, hopefully in the next beta build, and of course I'll be covering that. But that's pretty much just my quick recap of what the raid looks like right now. In this build we also have the raid armor sets with set bonuses for all the classes. I will be looking at the set bonuses when I get to each individual class later in the video, so stay tuned for that. But as of right now, I'm just going to look at the non-set jewelry and offhands, stuff like that. With the raid, and it appears these are gated behind tier 1. Tier 1 from the raid will offer new shields. Heavy, Warden, Minstrel, and Captain as usual. And you'll notice one change they made with this beta, every single shield, every output has crit defense now. So not just heavy shields like it used to be, but also Warden, Minstrel, and Captain shields also have crit defense. We have new offhands and bows for might, also from tier 1. And we also have offhands for agility, as well as a couple of swords for will, still from tier 1. Tier 1 also brings new necklaces and pocket items. And from tier 2, we have new rings and earrings gated behind tier 2. There's obviously cloaks, they're gated behind tier 4. They're part of the set bonuses, so I'm going to look at those for the individual class. But that's it for the current non-set gear from the raid. My previous video was the video where I took a look at the LI reward track for the first time, and you might remember me showing off all the rewards. And it seems relatively unchanged. The only change is the Ember rewards now actually give Embers. We can take a look here. So I did the thing again. Your reward track you can find under character and reward track. And you can actually now also claim level 100. We'll take a look at that. But first off, I wanted to show that the sealed chest of embers 1k now actually does give what it promises. 1k embers, and I'm assuming 1k figments. I'm just at cap, so I'm not getting anything. But each of these now give 1k embers upon opening. So let's take a look at this legendary coffer of Gundabad, the level 100 reward. Let's see what's in it. So it appears that it drops ancient script. I don't know how much because I'm at cap, unfortunately. But you can assume, I guess, a fair chunk. What do the purple ones give? I don't have any of those. Oh wait, maybe 200, maybe like 1000 or 2000 ancient script. But as you can see, you also get a tracery token. Kind of nice. They still kept the random tracery gain on everything, which I think is kind of shitty. They should really just give us tokens. We don't need the random drop. Please give tokens for everything. We can select and build our own allies. But another thing is the repeatable is now here. And right now it's 50 ancient script, which is pretty disappointing. I don't think it's worth. Let's see, if we unlock this using all your legendary XP on this for 50 scripts, unless they increase this, only 50 script, which is like nothing. Unless they increase this, I think people are just better off saving their XP for the next seasonal reward track instead of spending on the repeatable. So I really hope they make something better than 50 ancient script. That's kind of low in my opinion and not worth getting. That's the only differences with the ally reward track for now. Other than what I just showed, it's still the same with the same rewards. Just a quick look at the Erebor Housing. As you can see, it looks pretty nice. It seems like for each housing area you have one street on the right, you have one on the left, and then down where I just bought a house, Worm Horde Bridge, there seems to be houses on the left and on the right. I'm gonna go down and check that out. I also found an elevator or a lift. It could take you up and down. It's all the way south. But this is Wormhorde Bridge. I think I bought number 1. Are there houses here? Oh, if I go in here, is this my home? Yeah. Wormhorde Bridge 1, home of Gindian. This is my Erebor home. Of course, if you feel like taking a bath, you can always go down into the treasure, take a swim in the gold. Feel like Scrooge McDuck. Pretty fun. I'm sure most people have seen this before, but we can take a look inside. What does it look like? This is just a normal house, I'm pretty sure. Your average house. If you're a dwarf, you will love this. Little room here. A little room here. Stairs leading up. Is there something behind the stairs? Nope. And of course, I'm guessing you have all the hooks. Bunch of hooks you can put stuff. Top floor. Pretty nice. Very dwarvish. Of course, outside you can put a lot of stuff. This is your yard, Erebor Housing. And I believe there's a chessboard, but that's only for like kinship houses. I'm pretty sure. I don't see the chessboard here that I've seen before. One thing that is coming with this update is you're actually going to be able to put music outside in the yard. You can see it right here. I don't know about other houses, but I'm pretty sure they said Housing is getting this. Not just Erebor Housing, but Housing in general will be able to put music outside. Yeah, that's my quick look of Erebor Housing. If you like dwarf stuff, this is clearly for you. Take a refreshing bath in the morning. Ooh, I like the animation. Swim around in some gold. Every dwarf's a dream. Another change with this update, when you're leveling a character, and if you're not VIP, if you're like a free player, these traits would be gated behind a paywall. But as of this update, these will unlock regardless if you're a VIP, if you're a free player. They will be the same for everyone leveling up. The Adventurer's gear that you can get from the Adventurer's Quartermaster will scale up in level. With this update, the level will now be from level 461 to 463. So it appears that the items are increasing by 6 item level from 455 to 461. One thing that's pretty annoying on live right now, you have 2 swords. For example, on Champ, you might have a red and a yellow sword. And if you want to swap them, you can't just right click to swap. You have to drag the weapon out and then equip the other one. But if we're looking at beta right now, this has actually been fixed. Very simply, you can just right click. Even if they share the same unique traceries, you can just right click to change. Really nice quality of life change. And just a quick note on the Reforge UI. At the bottom you can see the text, the old text on live right now. It's kind of talking about the old allies, but if we look at beta, they've updated the text. It now correctly describes what happens when you reforge with the new system. If you're one of those who use the PvP ranked cloaks for your main cloak, be warned, with this update they are going to be disabled for PvE and only work in PvP. So make sure you get a PvE cloak before this update goes live. With this update also comes a new recipe for crafting guilds. If you're max rep with your crafting guild, you can go to your crafting guild and find your improved recipes guy. Where is he? Over here. Look up tier 14. You have a sunstone shard recipe. You can craft 1 sunstone shard per week. 6 days, 18 hours cooldown. But you can craft the sunstone worthy batch of crafts, which disenchants into a sunstone shards. So depending on how many crafters you have at max crafting guild, you can get quite a few shards per week. I'm sure most people are aware, but with this update they're also removing the gold tracery reward from Sari Surma. So when this update goes live, the tracery will be a teal one that you can get from this. So if you want to get some easy gold traceries, now is the time to farm before this update goes live in probably a few weeks. Another zone has received the modernized map layout, this time troll shows. As you can see, it's changed drastically and also includes now the angle of Mythathel in the south, the new zone, the new low-level zone. Basically, it seems like it's just an extension of troll shows, making it a bit bigger. And another thing to note, there's actually quite a few extra stable masters added. If we talk to the stable master, you can see that troll shows has, excluding the new zone, you also have, like, you still have the Rivendell stables, but you also have the last homely house to get closer to Elrond. You can go to the last bridge. Just a few quality of life improvements for traveling around in this zone. And of course, I'm now in the new zone, the angle of Mythathel. I'm not going to spend time looking around in this zone, but as we can see, it's basically an extension of the troll shells. At the top here you can see the last bridge. The same usual old troll shells, but now we have an extra part in the south angle of Mythathel. And it seems like this new zone is now connecting down to Eregion as before. But this is the new zone that we're getting, new wildwood kind of zone. And like I said, I'm not gonna be looking around, but you can see the map, quite a few areas to explore. And of course it's gonna be quests, usual stuff from this zone that people can check out. Basically an extension of the troll shells. There's more area in the south to explore. And I find kind of interesting, you can see Garth Agarvan at the top left. Kind of cool, seeing the layout from above. But yeah, that's the news from Troll Shells. New Stable Masters, and extension with a new mini zone in the south. Going to be new quests and new stuff to explore. One more thing to look out for is this right here is live. The prices of the geode stuff. Pay attention to the numbers because I'm going to switch to Brawler in a second. Look at those numbers. Boom. You will need less of everything with the next update. If you're planning to buy some geode stuff, maybe it's a good idea to hold off until this update goes live and you can get your stuff for a lot less than you can right now. It is time to look at the Beorning set bonus. Blue line, the Hidden Horde Hide. Core set is counterattack, reduces the cooldown of counter. Counter grants 15% evade. So normally counter will be a 10% evade chance. But with this set you get 25% evade chance for 20 seconds. Cooldown is 40 seconds, which is still pretty strong already. Seems like the cooldown skips like a second or so. Kind of hard to tell. Looks like a second or two every time you use counterattack. Redline Beorning set bonus is -4 seconds Vicious Claws cooldown. Cooldown is 12 seconds. This will take it down to 8 seconds. And you also receive 20% damage increase on Vicious Claw. And finally we have the yellow set for Beorning. Just looking at live real quick. Encouraging Roar right now is a 4.5 second cooldown and is a strong single target heal in bear form, and if you use it on your marked target then you also gain a hot that can tear up. But this set bonus increases the cooldown by 1.5 seconds. I guess this is a tooltip bug. It says Vicious Claws, but it means Encouraging Roar. Cooldown is now 6 seconds, but you also gain a 25 meter AoE radius that heals your allies. And I'm assuming this is... there's no restrictions for how many, it's just an AoE heal. Basically, it's just a lesser Bellow, which makes Beorning seem really strong if you can get this set. Very, very strong for healing raids. Lots of AoE healing. This set seems really strong for Beorning. Brawler belt from live, pretty underwhelming. But if we look at beta, you're getting a buff. And they're actually worth getting now. Decent vitality and stats for tanking and for DPS. So finally they have their ranged item to be somewhat good. We have some Brawler changes. The 3 builder skills, Low Strike, Dexterous Hook, and Sinister Cross. On live, they're kind of clunky. They take between 1 and 1.5 seconds to go off. But if we take a look at beta, they have increased the speed to be 0.75 seconds. As you can see, it feels much better building your metal. A lot quicker to build. This is something that when I tried the Brawler initially, that I have had like really trouble with. It felt so slow to build. But this increase to the builders is really nice for Brawler. Strike towards the sky and any AoE attack. On live you can see the radius is only 3 meters. But on beta, radius is 7 meters, so any AoE attack now have a 7 meter radius, which is needed for Brawler for sure. All group buffs also receive a buff. On live, you have your, let's see, like for example, you have your Follow Me. Effects applied to the Fellowship within 5 meters. Really short radius for their buffs. But on live, Follow Me 10 meters. Any like group buff the Brawler gives now has a 10 meter radius, which is much better than the 5. They can much more efficiently use their buffs and make sure they hit everyone if they're kind of spread out. So that was a much needed increase. I mean, I would like it to be like, let's make it 30 meters. But still, it's good that they increased the AoE on these buffs. On live, the skill Weather Blows cannot be used while in motion, but on beta, this skill can be used whenever you want. Another thing that has been fixed, Pummel, if you used it with less than 5 metal, now I have 3, it would cancel early, so you can see it right there. But if we go on beta, 1, 2, 3, and I use Pummel, it will keep going and finish the skill. In Redline, you have a trait called Critical Chance Increase. This is what it does on live, just 5% crit chance. On beta, it is supposed to give an additional effect that critical hits with finisher skills will generate 1 medal. But there's no indicator, at least yet, in the trait tree or in the trait itself that this is the case. But it says in the patch notes that tier 5 of this will also give the effect that finishing skills critical hits will generate 1 medal. Some blue line changes for Brawler. Come at me at live. The AoE taunt 3 targets, 7 meter radius. Joy of Battle heal, every time you hit something you restore 1% max morale. And one more thing, the Eager Challenger is 30 seconds on live. If we go over to beta, Come At Me has been increased to 5 targets, 12 meter radius, as well as Joy of Battle heal increased to 3% instead of 1%. Eager Challenger reduces the cooldown of Come At Me by 20 seconds, but the other 10 seconds are gonna be on a tracery. We have a few new Brawler traceries. Basic attack damage just will increase the attack damage of Brawler, which you really need. Hold the line, cooldown, and mitigation is for plant feet. Reduce the cooldown, increases the mitigation effect. Finishing attack damage, just increasing the damage on every finishing attack. As well as Shattering Fist, armor debuff increase, and damage increase. Set bonuses for the raid for Brawler. Blue line, Fulcrum. Blue line set bonus is Metal Shield, now only costs 1 metal per hit absorbed. For those who don't know, Metal Shield is a toggle skill for Blue line Brawler. Basically you have 10% more shield defense or defense. It's like a tome defense. As long as you keep your metal, this will stay active, but every time you get hit, they remove 2 metal from you. So if you're getting hit by a lot of enemies, it'll pretty much fall off pretty soon. But this set bonus makes that every time you get hit, you remove 1 medal. So it's going to be easier to maintain the medal shield with this set bonus. Redline set bonus for Brawler, plus 7.5% dev crit chance, so you have a higher chance of getting devastating hits, and also devastating crits. Every time you devastate, you will trigger Revel in Victory, which is a trait in Redline. Basically, the way to trigger this normally is defeating an enemy, and you generate medal over time for a short duration. So this will also now trigger with devastating hits, making medal generation a bit stronger for Redline. That's the Redline bonus. And the third set bonus for Brawler is basically kind of for the yellow line, which is not a trait itself, but the vulnerability effect can now stack on your target up to 3 times. Normally you can only get it 1 time. This is incoming damage, 1% I believe. And the way to trigger this effect is by using Low Strike as your last builder before a finishing skill. You have a chance to apply the vulnerable to the target. And with this set bonus you can now apply this debuff up to 3 times on your target. A couple of Burglar changes. Purge Corruption can now critical hit. It was not able to crit before, it can now crit. And there's also been a change to a skill in blue line, the Gambler line for Burglar, and that's for Hedge Your Bet. And depending on the roll that you get, I'm gonna just try to see what I roll here. So 5, it says 27% chance to return 10% of damage. Basically, it's a 20% chance on every hit to return 10% of your damage as a heal. And depending on the roll, it'll increase or decrease the chance from 15 to 30%. I try to use it again. I guess it refreshed. So if you roll 6, it's going to be 30%. If you roll 1, it's probably going to be... So I rolled 2, it's going to be 18%. And 1 would be 15% chance to get the morale heal. Basically, this and the Loremaster Spirit Pet is just to nerf kind of OP heals by hitting targets. So now Hedged Bet is, depending on your roll, has a chance to return 10% damage on every attack, and since it's not 100% return, it's not that strong. Burglar set bonuses for the raid. Blue line set bonus. Exposed Throat will now apply a bleeding juggler dot, so while using Exposed Throat, you also apply a dot. Yellowberg set bonus is a well-known set bonus, plus 15-second trick duration, makes it easier to keep your 2 tricks active at all times. A very good set bonus for Yellowberg. And finally we have the Redline set bonus. Redline set bonus for Berg is Coup de Grace cooldown reduced by 10 seconds. We'll take it from 30 to 20 second cooldown, and every time you use Coup de Grace you get a buff for 8 seconds plus 30% critical damage, which is a pretty good buff for Red Burglar. Every 20 seconds you can proc this 30% crit damage buff, so a pretty good set bonus for Red Berg. Time to look at the Captain set bonuses. Blue Line Captain for set bonus is for Reform the Lines, which is the capstone skill in Blue Line. Basically what this skill does is restoring 10% morale and then 4% morale every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. But if you have this set bonus, using this skill will also give the target's 10% max morale for 20 seconds. Every time you use Reform the Lines as a blue cappy with this set, everybody that you heal, your whole fellowship, will receive 10% morale buff for 20 seconds. The Redline Captain set bonus is pretty straightforward. -5 seconds on Shadow's Lament cooldown. Currently it is 20-second cooldown, but with the Redline set bonus, the cooldown will be 15 seconds. And finally, the Yellow Line Captain set bonus in Harm's Way now applies its damage reduction bonus to the captain's allies during its effect. Not only will the captain himself get -20% incoming damage, your whole fellowship will take 20% less damage. And this set bonus is pretty strong in my opinion. Really good group-wide buff that the yellow captain can apply in dire need. Champion had a couple of changes. Bracing attack, as of right now, of course, it's a really strong heal, but there is a chance on live that it can get BPE'd and you won't receive your heal. But with this beta build, every time you use bracing attack, regardless if it hits or not, you're gonna get the morale heal in any case. Merciful Strike had an increase in critical damage and devastating damage multiplier. Apparently they were too low, but they have been brought up to be online with other skills for the champion. Set bonuses for champion. Blue line set bonus. Mighty Roar now replaces the Unbreakable buff with Unbroken, which lasts 120 seconds, so 2 minutes. And the skills that are in question right here is Unbreakable makes it so that every time you get hit, this effect will stack, the percentage morale will stack and get higher, and the more you get hit by Unbreakable, it enables Mighty Roar, which is a AoE damaging attack. But if you have this blue line set bonus for set, using Mighty Roar will give you 20% max morale for 2 minutes. This is pretty strong. I'm gonna pop Unbreakable, get hit until I can use Mighty Roar. That should give me the 2-minute buff. Mighty Roar is active. Did it work? Did not work. So now some of the set bonuses don't work properly. But using Mighty Roar, as you can see, is supposed to give you 2 minutes of 20% max morale and almost 300k tact mit. And looking at the red line set bonus for champion, this set bonus is for Merciful Strike. Each strike skill used increases the Swift Mercy stack, granting 10% plus critical damage to Merciful Strike to a max of 50. And knowing champion, you're going to use strike skills all the time. This is going to build pretty quickly. And this could possibly be a pretty good buff to Merciful Strike. Plus 50% max crit damage. A skill that can be traded for a guaranteed crit is pretty good. So Redline Champion has a decent set bonus. And finally we have the Yellow Line set bonus, Born for Combat, which is a skill that I don't think any champions really use. Doesn't do enough damage. And it also requires you to actually get hit 10 times, then you can use it. But with this set bonus, Born for Combat is now Born for Slaughter. Every 10th critical hit with a Blade skill, which is your AoE skills like Blade Wall or Raging Blade, Furious Blades, basically your AoE skills. Every 10th critical hit will unleash an additional attack against all nearby enemies. After trying this out, it does not appear to be working as of right now. But in any case, it's supposed to give you an extra attack, just randomly, I believe, every 10th crit with a blade skill. So we'll see in future builds if they can actually fix this set bonus. A couple of Guardian changes, or should I say fixes. I'm sure most Guardians have had Catch a Breath being reduced the cooldown by Word Chant, and for some reason it's still on cooldown when you try to use it. I believe this has something to do that if you use Catch a Breath after a parry response and then reduce the cooldown, it'll be incorrect. This apparently has been fixed on this build, so you'll no longer see Catch a Breath go off cooldown and then actually still be on cooldown. The other thing that was mentioned is Flash of Light. It now scales with your weapons, so it should be higher damage at higher levels since it's actually scaling off your weapon now. But you can only proc it off your Take to Heart target, so your marked target in yellow line. And I know Flash of Light was really strong with some tricky AoE stuff, but that has now been stopped, I believe. And from what I hear, Flash of Light is just a shadow of what it used to be. Looking at the Guardian set bonuses, Blue Line set bonus makes Catch a Breath heal being delayed by 4 seconds, but during these 4 seconds, the incoming damage is reduced by 35%. That sounds like a really strong set bonus. Using Catch a Breath, which is a skill that you have back pretty often, you can reduce big hits, or you can just use it as a really strong cooldown. And after the 4 seconds of reduced damage, you also get a pretty strong heal. So in my opinion, this blue line set bonus seems really strong for Guardian. Red line set bonus for Guardian. Guardian's Ward now generates a parry event, and this effect has a 10-second cooldown. I can see this being useful, just an automatic parry event, although it's a 10-second cooldown before you can use it again. It could even be useful for tanking at some point, but I still think the blue line set bonus is too strong. But this is the Guardian's red line set bonus. Guardian's Ward generates a parry event. And finally we have the yellow line Guardian set bonus. Pretty straightforward. Flash of Light does 30% more damage. A couple of Hunter fixes to mention. Lingering Wound now has its bleed back. Apparently they don't have that on live. And for blue line, Rapid Fire, that is supposed to remove the cost of skills that cost focus, now actually removes the cost of Split Shot as well. So just a couple of quick fixes for Hunter. And looking at the Hunter set bonuses, Blue Line Hunter set bonus, Rapid Fire gets plus 10-second duration and reduces Barrage Tier 3 cooldown to 2 seconds. Red Line set bonus, Rain of Arrows inflicts the Barbed Rain bleed on all targets hit. So this bleed is pretty good and will also apply to every target that you hit. So a really strong boost for Hunter AoE. You spam Rain of Arrows on a lot of targets. It's going to be a lot of bleeds up. And this set bonus also appears to give an increase in single target DPS. So with this set bonus, it appears that Hunters now should incorporate Rain of Arrows into their single target rotations as well. And finally we have the yellow line set bonus. Really straightforward. Explosive Arrow cooldown reduced by 4 seconds. One really big change to Lore Master with this update. As you can see, you have your normal pet skills. You can just, do your pet stuff. But the spirit pet has now received a 3-minute cooldown. So no longer can you just keep Nature's Light on the target full time. And Nature's Light also has a cooldown of 3 minutes. So the same as the skill. So this update will be the official death of the spirit pet for Lore Master. Like, you can almost just stop using this. 3-minute cooldown. There's really no value in using it every 3 minutes. I guess you could, because why not, but healers are gonna have to get used to working a bit harder to heal the DPS group, because this buff will no longer have 100% uptime. It also has a duration. The duration is nerfed from 30 to 20 seconds. So pretty much death to Lore Master Spirit Pet Reflect. Set bonuses for Lore Master. Blue line set bonus. Inner Flame no longer requires channeling, and also plus 20% Inner Flame base healing. Red line set bonus for Lore Master. Plus 20% Ents Go to War base damage, and also critting with lightning skills will reduce Ents Go to War cooldown by 30 seconds. And finally, we get a look at the yellow line set bonus. Power of Knowledge, which is your power drain as a Lore Master. Power of Knowledge inflicts shocking enervation, reducing the target's damage by 20% while channeling. So as far as I know, this actually reduces the target's damage by 20%. So Power Knowledge with a 45-second cooldown and a 5.5 second duration can now be used as a reducing big damage hits from bosses. With good timing, it should be possible to utilize this set pretty well. Looking at Minstrel set bonuses, Blue line set bonus. Healer Strike now provides the Inspirational Strike buff to all nearby allies, increasing incoming healing. I'm just going to go take a look at that. So every time you use Healer Strike, this guy gets Inspirational Strike. 30-second duration, 5% incoming healing. And I do believe that the stack... Maybe they don't. Alright. Seems like they don't stack. All nearby allies. This guy's not in a fellow with me, so maybe that means within 20 meters, maybe? So raid wide, possibly. Pretty good. You can keep up every 30 seconds. 5% incoming healing on your allies. You can just use this skill every now and then. Seems like a pretty good set bonus for Mini. Red line set bonus for Minstrel. Song of the Hammerhand now provides a plus 20% tactical damage while it holds. So basically, while you have your self bubble on yourself, you deal 20% extra tactical damage in red line with the set bonus. Yellow line set bonus for Minstrel, pretty straightforward, minus 45-second Call to Greatness cooldown. Couple of Rune-Keeper changes. This is currently live. Rid of Fire and Scathing Mockery with their normal 4 seconds and 6 seconds pulses. On Bullroarer right now, this has been changed. We still have the same amount of pulses, but Rate of Fire now procs every 3 seconds, and Scathing Mockery as well every 3 seconds. Technically, this should mean a DPS buff for Rune-Keeper, but the cooldown of Scathing Mockery with 21 seconds time now, kind of tricky to put into a rotation. I've seen quite a few RK players complain about this, but in any case, this is a change that people will have to adjust to unless they change it again. But this is a new change for Rune-Keeper to look out for. Rate of Fire and Scathing Mockery have a shorter time on their ticks. And looking at the Rune-Keeper set bonuses, blue line, Flurry of Words grants all allies within 25 meters the Frost Armor effect. If you don't know what this effect is, it says right here, minus 10% incoming damage for 8 seconds. So a strong, possibly raid-wide damage reduction skill for blue RK healer by using Flurry of Words. And looking at the red line set bonus, this can look kind of confusing, but I've tried to wrap my head around it. Basically, every fire skill that you have with this set bonus can proc the Fire cycle. So 20% chance for every fire skill to proc this cycle. And just to get an idea, I'm gonna pull over Discord. As you can see from this screenshot from Mark Bjorn in the universe, I believe the thing you proc with your fire skills is Fire Fire. And basically your next fire skill after proccing this does 10% damage and procs this one, the Frost. And you can see the duration is 6 seconds. And I'm pretty sure when this is procced, you can now use a Frost skill with no induction. And then it'll proc Fire again. And I believe it can tier up, so maybe 20%. And then again, this will proc Frost. And the Frost skills will have no induction, so you can kind of like use Fire skill, Frost skill with no induction, Fire skill, Frost skill. So it seems like the idea behind this is to alternate between Frost and Fire skills when you proc the Fire cycle, I guess. Kind of confusing, but it could be good, maybe. We will see how this turns out. And finally, we have a set bonus that we've seen before. Each stack of Rid of Lightning lowers lightning mitigations by 10% instead of 5%. Right now, the max you can get is 15%. With this set bonus, you can get 30% lightning mitigation debuff on the target. And you also get a 3% tactical mitigation reduction on the target from using this. So seems like a pretty good set bonus for Lightning RK. It remains to see if they can be competitive with other classes. A couple of Warden changes on live right now. Mastery cooldowns are 11.7 seconds. If we go to beta, cooldown is 9.5 seconds. That is because of the change to the Mastery cooldown tracery. Find it. Mastery cooldown has been increased to 5.5 on beta, so Wardens will have shorter cooldowns on their masteries. The other changes for Wardens, their heals have been increased in general, so Blue Line Warden should have some better heals. And there's also a change to the Blue Line skill for the Free Peoples. The new effect from this So it's a 15-second duration. If you spam your builders, you're gonna build up Determined. In the patch notes, it said that the max rank is 25%, but right here it caps out at 20% incoming damage. And this is also Fellowship wide, I believe. And looking at the set bonuses for Warden, blue line set bonus, each time you block, parry, or evade, the cooldown of for the free peoples, like we just looked at, cooldown is 1 minute 30 seconds. It'll be reduced by 1 second every time you BPE, with an internal cooldown of 2 seconds for how often it can proc. So this should help you get for the free peoples and get the really strong Fellowship wide incoming damage buff more often with this set bonus. Red line set bonus for Warden is plus 15% to Martial Fury proc chance. And what that means, basically you have some skills like Unerring Strike that has a 15% chance to apply a secondary bleed. With this set bonus, that chance will be 30%. That goes for skills like Mighty Blow, Power Attack, as well as Spear of Virtue and Piercing Strike as well. So you'll get 15% more chance to apply these. And finally we have the Yellow Warden set bonus. Mark target and diminish target remove an additional 2% mitigations. If you like Lord of the Rings Online, there's one place you need to be. In every video that I post, you can go down to the description and join my Discord server. This will take you to the Universe, a Discord server specifically made for Lord of the Rings Online. Here you will have monthly giveaways where people can enter and win Lotro point codes. You'll also see whenever I post a new video, as well as stream. There are discussion channels for every class, for PvP, whatever you want from Lotro. And there's also a best in slot section where you can find screenshots of everything you need in the game, every new gear that comes out, everything you need, pretty much all the best items you can find here. And all the way at the bottom is my video archive. You can find all my old videos. But if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings Online, if you're a new player, if you're an experienced player, this is a good place to discuss and learn about the game.